Welcome to this gentle yoga practice that's going to warm your body up from the inside out and leave you feeling rejuvenated, relaxed, and refreshed. So we're going to begin in child's pose. You can come to a kneeling position with your big toes touching, and your knees can be anywhere from together or out wide. So it's really just a personal preference, what feels good to you. Stretching your arms out in front of you and then resting the forehead down on the ground. From here, begin to breathe deeply and notice that you're inhaling and exhaling in and out through the nose. Allowing the belly to rise and fall with the breath. And then walking your hands over to the right. Getting a nice stretch down through the left side body. And then walking the hands over to the left. Inviting the breath down through the right side. And back to center. Go ahead and walk the hands in underneath the shoulders, coming onto all fours. Wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and we'll flow through cat and cow. On cat, we tuck our tailbone down, tuck the chin to the chest, and draw the navel up towards the spine. On cow, we lift our sits bones high and open up the heart, allowing the belly to sway down towards the floor. Just alternating here, breathing. And then meeting up with a neutral spine, crown of the head reaching straight forward. We're going to bring the fingertips of our left hand to the back of our head. And inhale, take that elbow up to the sky. Nice big inhale here. And then exhale, thread it underneath and reach that elbow over towards that opposite hip. Like you're trying to make contact. Exhale all the air out. And then inhale, back up to the sky. Good, just flowing with your own breath here. Exhale, and inhale, back up. One more. Place that left hand back down on the floor underneath the shoulder. Right fingertips to the back of the head. Inhale, elbow reaches up high. And exhale, thread that elbow underneath as if you're trying to bring it back to make contact with that left hip. Inhale, float it up to the sky. And exhale, thread it through. Allow your your breath to guide you here. One breath, one movement. And release that right hand back to the floor. Good, let's sit back into child's pose again just to rest our wrists and our shoulders. Maybe rolling the wrists here. And then coming back up onto all fours. We're gonna explore sunbird here for a moment. So we're gonna extend our right arm and our left leg long. Now, if this is too much, just keep your hand on the floor and focus just on that leg. Extending it back behind you and kicking through the heel. And you might notice that as you lift that leg, that right hip wants to open. So think about keeping your hip points pointed straight down to the floor so those hips stay parallel with one another. Breathing down into the depths of the belly. Again, you might have your opposite arm lifted here, reaching through the fingertips. And exhale, releasing down. Good, flowing over to the other side. So we're gonna kick our right leg back. So again, if this is enough for you, you can stay right here with both hands on the floor. Otherwise, inhale that left hand up. And we're still checking in with those hip points here. So your right hip may have floated up towards the sky. So think about bringing those hip points back towards the floor. Nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Exhale, releasing down. Good, we've got one more on that other side. So inhale, extend. And this time we're gonna flow. So on our exhale, we'll bring our knee and elbow together underneath the belly. And inhale, extend. Exhale, wringing out the lungs, seeing if you can make contact. And inhale, extend. Couple more. And exhale, release down. Good, over to that other side. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, round it in. See if you can make contact. Flowing with your own breath here. Exhaling in. Inhaling as you open up. Good. Exhale, releasing back down to the floor and sitting the hips back over the heels into child's pose. Just settle in here for a moment. I'm going to lose a layer. All right. So here from child's pose, we're going to flow through our chaturanga, bringing our shoulders forward over our wrists and dropping our hips into a nice straight line. So we have a nice line from our knees up through the crown of our head. Exhale as you lower the chest down between the thumbs. And inhale as you lift and lengthen, reaching through the crown of the head, engaging the backside of the body here. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, down. One more time. Inhale, lift and lengthen. This time, press those hands into the floor. pressing the floor away, shoulders melting down away from the ears. And exhale back into child's pose. This time we'll flow through that modified chaturanga, inhaling as we come forward. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lift and lengthen, maybe to cobra, which would keep your hips on the floor, or maybe to up dog, lifting those thighs up. Exhale back into child's pose. Good, we've got 2 more of those. Flowing, inhale forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, child's pose. Last one. From child's pose, tuck the toes and lift the hips high, downward facing dog. Pedaling out the legs here. Shifting the weight from one foot to the other. And then slowly traveling the feet forward into a forward fold. You can soften the knees here as much as you need to, or even take the knees out a little bit wider. Folding the elbows here, ragdoll. From ragdoll, release the hands down beside the feet. Inhale to a halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, fold and soften the knees, and inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up to mountain. Exhale, down into chair. Sitting the hips back into the heels, tucking the tailbone slightly. If it's too much to have the hands up, you can press the hands together at heart center. Breathing here in chair. Inhale all the way back up to mountain. Maybe taking a little gentle back bend here at the top. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale the hands down, stepping the left foot back into a low lunge. So from here, we're going to drop our left knee down to the floor and come up into a runner's lunge, bringing both hands to that right thigh, shoulders melting down away from ears. Getting a nice stretch here through the front of that left hip flexor. Breathing. You have an option here of taking those arms up overhead. And exhale, release the hands down to the floor and sink the hips back over the heels, straightening out that right leg for a hamstring stretch. Lengthening through the spine and softening over that right leg. Good, now we're gonna flow. So we'll inhale and come forward, runner's lunge, and exhale back into that hamstring stretch. Good, flowing with your own breath, inhaling to rise, and exhaling to fold forward. A couple more just like that. Good. From here, let's lower our left hand down to the floor, or if you have a block, you might place that hand on a block. And then you're going to take that right hand to your right hip, looking up past that right shoulder. Breathe. Hug that right knee towards the middle of the body. I'm going to turn here so you can see. We're hugging that right knee in towards the center of our body. Right hand to the hip. You can also release that right hand up to the sky. Good. Exhale, lowering it down. And then we're going to toe heel that right foot out to the outside edge of our mat or of our space that we're working in. And then we're gonna lower down into lizard pose. So you can walk those hands out towards the opposite corner, or you can lower down onto your forearms. And you're just letting that right leg sprawl out to the side of the room. Breathing here in lizard pose. Nice deep stretch. Walk those hands back in, toe heel that foot back to center. And then we're gonna tuck those left toes under and step the right foot back to meet the left in downward facing dog. Breathing here. Inhale, look forward between the hands. And travel the feet forward into a forward fold. Soften the knees and inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up to mountain. And sit down into chair. Breathing here, relax those shoulders down away from the ears. You always have the option of bringing those hands to heart center. Inhale to rise and exhale, swan dive. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. And release the hands down to the floor, this time stepping just the right foot back into a low lunge. And then we'll lower that back knee down to the floor, bringing both hands up to that left thigh. Good. I notice sometimes in yoga or sometimes during my day, even my face will be really tight. And so I like to think about allowing the corners of my mouth to turn up. And it's a little cheesy because it means I'm smiling. But when you smile, you relax more muscles in your face than when you have more of a frown. And so to soften the muscles of the face and the jaw and the neck, you can allow the corners of the mouth to turn up. Good. Maybe inhaling those arms up overhead here. Breathe. And exhale, release the hands down to the floor. Tip the hips back over that back knee. Hamstring stretch. Lengthening through the spine. And now we'll begin to flow. Inhale as you come up. And exhale as you rock back, straightening out that leg. Flowing here. Last one, inhale to rise. And then exhale, release both hands down inside of that left foot and toe heel that left foot out to the edge of your mat or to your space there. And then as you come into lizard pose, you're gonna walk your hands out towards the opposite corner or drop down onto your forearms as you let that left leg just sprawl out to the side of the room. Lots of deep breathing here to really get into this stretch. Walking your hands back to center, and then curling those right toes under, lifting that back knee and stepping the left foot back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Inhale as you come up onto the toes and come forward into a high plank. Nice straight line from the heels up through the top of the head, or modify by lowering the knees down to the floor. We're gonna hold our plank here. Breathing. Good, go ahead and drop that right knee down to the floor, or keep it down. If you're already modified, keep that right knee down. And we're gonna kick that right foot out to the side of the room, rolling onto our right hand for a side plank. So our left hand is up towards the sky. Maybe we lift that back foot up off of the floor, or maybe we keep it down here. Either way is great. You can look straight ahead of you or up past those left fingertips. And exhale, slowly making your way back to center. Same thing on the other side. So we'll kick that left foot out to the side of the room and roll onto our left hand here. Right arm extends up towards the sky. You can stay right here or lift that right leg up off of the floor. Slowly making your way back to center and back to either high plank or modified plank, holding. Slowly lower the knees down and swinging those legs around in front of you so that you're seated again. Here we go. Good. So we're going to keep our hands behind our hips here and our heels on the floor, knees bent at about 90 degrees. And then we're going to take both knees over to the right. Breathing. And then over to the left. Getting into those hips. Now, your hips may be looser than mine. For me, this is plenty stretch. I feel a nice stretch through the outside of my hips here. But if you don't feel the stretch, you can sit up a little bit taller here, maybe even leaning forward over your legs as you take the legs side to side. I actually feel the stretch less that way. I don't know, right now my hips might be weird. Couple more times, side to side. Good, and then let's meet up with the soles of our feet together, knees out wide, sitting up nice and tall. Take a moment here just to tuck that chin in towards the chest. And then take the right ear over to the right shoulder. Breathing. Back to center. Left ear to left shoulder. Back to center. Good. Clasp a hold of the ankles or the bottoms of the feet. And hinge forward. You can press the elbows down in towards the knees. Breathing and lengthening through the spine. Inhale as you come to sitting up tall and extend those feet straight out in front of you. Good, sitting up tall. And then we're gonna bend our knees and lower ourselves down onto our backs. Taking the palms down beside the hips and walking the feet in near the sits bones. We'll begin to engage the abdominals, pressing the low back down into the mat, and then bringing those feet up to a tabletop position. As you inhale, hinge from the right hip, taking that right heel down towards the floor, and exhale, march it back up. Inhale, marching. The whole time, keeping our low back pressing down into the floor. Good. Go ahead and lower those feet down to the floor. Tuck the tailbone and peel the spine up off of the floor, up into bridge. Keeping that chin up away from the chest and squeezing the glutes and the hamstrings. Breathing. Slowly lowering back down to the floor. Take your time. Teeing the arms out to the side of the room. And then folding the knees into the chest. Take a nice big inhale here. And on the exhale, allow both knees to fall over to the right side. Bringing the gaze out over the left fingertips. Breathing deeply. Inhale as you guide the legs back to center. And exhale, allow both legs to fall over to the left-hand side of the room, taking the gaze out over the right fingertips. Bringing the knees back to center and giving them a gentle squeeze. Gentle rock side to side. And then coming to happy baby pose. It's our last pose before our final Shavasana. So we're taking the soles of the feet up to the sky, knees out nice and wide. And then think about making yourself as broad as possible. Making as wide of a space on the floor, pressing the hips down towards the floor, pressing the shoulders down. And then as you're ready, releasing the feet, taking them down, out nice and long, coming into our final Shavasana. Corpse pose. letting the hands rest down beside the hips. Fingers gently curl up towards the sky, allowing the feet to fall open to the sides of the room. Bringing our awareness back to our breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Deepening and lengthening the breath. Ending your practice with an attitude of gratitude. Think of something specific that you're thankful for. And if nothing else, be thankful for this time that you had to spend on your practice. Taking the time to be aware of your body, mind, and breath. Wiggling the fingers and the toes, rolling the wrists and the ankles. As you're ready, bending the elbows and the knees. And then coming on to one side. Taking your time to gently, slowly make your way up into a seated position. Be sure to come up nice and slowly. Relax those shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, take them down. Good, one more big breath just like that. Inhale up. And exhale down. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Shalom.